Welcome to the third session of the teleconference. As I had informed, this session will be on adolescent sexuality. As I have already informed to all the students, for this batch onwards, adolescent health has been incorporated in a big way. So we are planning to organize a 2-day workshop for every student in their respective centers in the FASPEL itself. It will be a 2-day workshop which will be participatory in nature for the students, and the counselors who will be organizing this in their respective center has been oriented by IGNOU. Today we will take up a topic on adolescent sexuality. To discuss the topic, I have two experts with me. To my right, Dr. Pratima Mittal. She is a senior obstetrician gynecologist at Safdarjung Hospital. She has been involved with SAN from the beginning, in which adolescent health project was initiated at Safdarjung Hospital by Government of India. To her right, Dr. Patanjali Dev Nair, who is a adolescent medicine specialist trained in Switzerland, and she has worked on adolescent sexual health counselor and is also involved in WHO and UNFPA. And both these experts have been involved in development of the material that we will be providing you. They have been course writers and have helped us in developing a lot of audio video material also. So I request the students to utilize this opportunity to clear their doubts related to adolescent health. Now I will request Dr. Nair to tell us briefly that what is the difference between sex and sexuality. Vis-a-vis adolescent sexuality. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jaina. Very interesting question.
Yeah.
Many people ask about what is the difference between sex and sexuality. How do we respond? The best answer is to say that sex is a component of sexuality. Sexuality is a person's total denomination, the way the person behaves in the sexual arena and the non-sexual arena both. How the person walks, talks, behaves with the other gender. Is he or she comfortable with the men and women or only with one? How do they dress up? How do they smile? What are their thoughts? How do those thoughts manifested in life? So the total gamut of behavior is called as sexuality. It's an interesting topic, and a lot of research, a lot of work is going on to define where sexuality ends and say non-sexual behavior begins, but it's most difficult to say. Sex, on the other hand, is a small component. If sexuality were to be a total circle, sex would be a small arc on it. The sexual behavior would be fantasy, kissing, holding hands, writing letters, and proceeding further onto the core sexual arena, including the bedroom behavior. The interesting part is, how does adolescent sexuality differ or is similar to the adult sexuality? That has been an area which needs a lot of more work, and I compliment IGNOU for starting this course, because the need of the hour, the amount of turmoil it is causing in our adolescents in the country needs to be addressed. Suffice to know that adolescent sexuality is an arena by itself, and it's not necessary that everything is derived or is similar to what's seen in the adult sexuality. That's the important part, Gina, I would like to say here, that adolescent sexuality has to be seen as a topic of interest by itself. It borrows from adult sexuality, or it contributes to adult sexuality in many ways, and that's where it makes it so interesting.
Maybe we can go to the next step to have the adolescent sexuality concerns, especially for the girls.
Okay.
Madam, would you like to highlight those issues?
Yeah, as the girl grows, initially from the very beginning, all the sexual organs are maturing, so it leads to a lot of anxiety. She doesn't know what is normal, what is abnormal. So in the initial early adolescent phase, it leads to body image issues, which is like I'm short, I'm very tall, I'm not gaining height, I'm very obese, I'm very thin, or my breast size is very small. These issues are very important, which leads to a lot of anxiety in these girls, and this anxiety leads to a lot of introvertness. I mean, they don't really realize that these issues are normal. They don't know what is normal, what is abnormal. So leading to anxiety leads to, throughout the life it will lead to problems. Then secondly, when they start menstruation, when they attain menarche, then the problems of menstruation occurs. That they don't know whether the periods which they are having are normal or they are abnormal, like whether the last period lasting for 3 days is normal or the period lasting for 7 days is normal, whether the having pain during periods is normal or it is, I mean, should they take some medicines, should they allay the pain, will it lead to some addiction of drugs if they take medicines. Then it comes to, adult girls becoming attractive, attracted, girls get attracted to boys, leads to infatuation, leads to physical contacts, physical abuses also, especially in the families itself, family members and, relatives, they lead to all the, they can be sexual abuse which they don't come out, they feel embarrassed to talk about them, they don't feel comfortable discussing those issues with parents or anybody else, and that, leads to so many problems. Their career suffers, their identity suffers, and of course, if they're, they have, initiated early sexual activity is initiated, definitely it's going to increase more problems. And in our, we are dealing with the girls, adolescents is a very heterogeneous group. There are certain groups, in the if you come to the cities, they're all educated, they may be, not getting married early, but in villages they are getting married very early at the age of 16. It's more than 47% girls are married before, 18 years of age in our country.
Yeah, NFHS data shows that.
Yeah, and then there is, certain times that the unmarried girls becoming pregnant, and then that leading to unsafe abortion. So all these problems, unsafe abortion, then adolescent pregnancy, even if they are married early. So, getting pregnant early will lead to so many problems. So all these concerns, I think, are adolescent concerns which are very important for us.
Then I'd just like to add here, two or three things is the concern of virginity is one of the very important ones in Southeast Asia, especially in our country. The fear of losing virginity also creates a lot of anxiety. And how do you value the hypocrisy in the society that girls have to be virgins, but the boys, we don't even know what's their sexual conduct like. So these are some of the things, the sociological manifestations which come into the sexual health arena. So there's a lot of anxiety caused in the minds of the girls and young women by sociological concerns rather than biological concerns. Dr. Pratima has already spoken about multiple issues which have an impact on sexual health concerns of the girls. Some of them are concerns, some of them are problems. And how do we tackle with concern, how to tackle problems, probably we'll take in the later end of the program. But it's important to sort of decide there are certain concerns and there are certain problems. And problems need to be managed largely by the doctors, by the health experts. But the concerns need to be tackled at the sociological level, in the schools, in the society, through the mass media, through programs like these.
Yes. Yeah, I think as it is rightly pointed out that there are so many concerns. I would like you to show a video clip about the concerns related to body image issue of the girls. Can we have the video clip, please? Then we will go into detail.
नमस्ते डॉक्टर साहब।
आओ बैठो। आपका नाम?
जी मेरा नाम प्रीति है।
कितनी उम्र है आपकी?
मैं 15 साल की हूँ।
क्या परेशानी है?
दरअसल बात यह है डॉक्टर कि मुझे आपसे एक बात पूछनी थी।
घबराओ नहीं, यहाँ पे जो भी आप बात करोगी वो हमारे तक ही सीमित रहेगी। हम आपकी कोई भी बात किसी को नहीं बताएंगे, जाके आप खुल के अपनी बात कह सकती हैं। बताइए।
डॉक्टर एक्चुअली बात यह है कि मेरी ब्रेस्ट बहुत छोटी है।
अच्छा।
इसकी वजह से मुझे बहुत शर्मिंदगी महसूस होती है। सारी सहेलियां मेरा मजाक उड़ाती हैं और कोई मेरी तरफ देखता भी नहीं है।
अच्छा, एक बात बताइए, आपको महीना शुरू हो गया आना?
जी हाँ।
अभी कब हुआ, कितने दिन पहले हुआ?
जी मैं 15 साल की हूँ तो 2 साल तो हो ही चुके हैं।
अच्छा, देखिए ऐसा है कि सब अलग अलग सबका शरीर होता है, कोई लंबा होता है, कोई छोटा होता है, कोई काला होता है, कोई गोरा होता है। तो इसी तरह से ब्रेस्ट का भी साइज जो है ना, वो इतना ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं होता कि भी कितना, क्योंकि सबके अलग अलग तरीके के शरीर होता है। पर फिर भी मैं आपको देख लेती हूँ किस तरह की कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है। अब देखो, तुम अगर देखो ब्रेस्ट के अंदर क्या क्या चीजें होती हैं। ब्रेस्ट के अंदर दूध पैदा करने वाली ग्लैंड्स होती हैं, ग्रंथियां होती हैं, या दूध को ले जाने वाली, निपल तक ले जाने वाली डक्ट्स होती हैं, और फैट होता है। अब तुम अगर आप ये देखो, ये हमारे पास है नॉर्मल डेवलपमेंट ब्रेस्ट का। ब्रेस्ट जो है, जब आप बच्चे होते हो तो उसकी जो निपल्स है वो डेवलप नहीं होते है ना। पहले सबसे पहले निपल डेवलप होता है, थोड़ा सा ऊपर उठता है, फिर उसके बाद निपल के चारों तरफ ब्राउन कलर का जो एरियोला जिसको हम बोलते हैं वो डेवलप होता है थोड़ा सा। और जब लास्ट में क्या होता है कि जब ब्रेस्ट पूरा डेवलप हो जाता है तो ब्रेस्ट, निपल और एरियोला अलग अलग से फील होता है। आपकी ब्रेस्ट को देखो किस तरह से है, आपकी ब्रेस्ट कौन सी स्टेज में है इसके हिसाब से, ये वाली ना। तो देखिए ये फाइनल स्टेज होती है, तो इसका मतलब है कि आपकी ब्रेस्ट पूरी तरह डेवलप हो चुकी है। और इसके अलावा जो भी ब्रेस्ट में ग्रोथ होती है वो फैट की वजह से होती है। फैट जो है वो कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि उसका कोई काम है कि जिससे कि वो आगे आपको कोई परेशानी होगी, परंतु सिर्फ मोटा और पतला होना कोई बीमारी नहीं है। ब्रेस्ट का ज्यादा हैवी होना या लाइट होना कोई बीमारी नहीं है। और ग्लैंड्स और निपल जो है आपके पूरे वेल डेवलप्ड है। और जो ब्रेस्ट का काम है दूध पैदा करना, जब आप बड़े होंगे, प्रेगनेंसी होगी, डिलीवरी होगी, तब दूध के लिए, तो वो उसके लिए तो नंबर ऑफ डक्ट्स जो होती हैं वो ब्रेस्ट के अंदर जितनी हैं उतनी सबके अंदर है, नॉर्मल है। तो इम्पॉर्टेंट ये है कि आपको ये समझना है कि ये सब कोई बीमारी नहीं है। सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी बात यही है, क्योंकि फैट ज्यादा हो या कम हो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है ना। और अगर आपको थोड़ा सा लगता है कि भाई बहुत ज्यादा कॉन्शियस फील करती हो तो आप पैडेड ब्रा यूज कर सकते हो। पर सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात यही समझने की है कि ये कोई बीमारी नहीं है। आपकी ब्रेस्ट बिल्कुल नॉर्मल है, बिल्कुल हेल्दी है एंड पूरी तरह से डेवलप है।
तो क्या डॉक्टर मैं इसके लिए सर्जरी नहीं करा सकती?
अभी आपको मैंने बताया ना कि जब कोई एबनॉर्मेलिटी नहीं है तो सर्जरी कराने का क्या फायदा ना।
जी डॉक्टर।
सर्जरी कराने के तो नुकसान ही होगी, कोई नॉर्मल चीज में सर्जरी थोड़ी की जाती है।
डॉक्टर मैं इसकी ग्रोथ के लिए क्या क्या कर सकती हूँ?
देखो, एक सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है कि आप एक्सरसाइजेस करें। जैसे मैंने आपको अंदर बताया था ना कि हाथों को घुमाना है और पीछे की तरफ शरीर को ऐसे ले जाके मसल्स को स्ट्रेच करना है। तो एक्सरसाइज आप करेंगी तो उससे इसमें स्ट्रेंथनिंग होगी ब्रेस्ट मसल्स में। और इसके अलावा खाने का पूरा ध्यान रखना है आपको। आपकी डाइट जो है वो बैलेंस होनी चाहिए है ना। आपको प्रोटीन और कार्बोहाइड्रेट सब नियमित मात्रा में लेना चाहिए। दाल खानी चाहिए, और अगर अंडा खाते हैं तो अंडा खाइए। तो अपना खाने का ध्यान रखिएगा।
जी डॉक्टर।
फिर भी अगर आपको कोई परेशानी हो आप दोबारा मेरे से आके बात कर सकती हैं।
जी डॉक्टर। नमस्ते डॉक्टर।
So you saw the video clip of how to tackle the body image issue concerns of the girls. So there are many issues. We have only shown you one issue, and we will tell you more in details during the adolescent health workshop. Now I will request Dr. Nair to tell us some issues related to adolescent males.
The sexual health issues.
Yeah, sexual health concerns.
When I was writing a column for the Indian Express and the hundreds of workshops which I've done in schools, telephonic counseling, what I hear from my doctor friends and everyone else, the number one issue for the male sexual health concern in adolescent is related to masturbation, Hasmithun or self-stimulation, which is known by many other names in our country in Southeast Asia. And it is surprising that it is common. Even if I had written an answer in one of the weekly columns, the next week I would still get more questions on masturbation. And I would be very happy to know from our viewers and our doctor friends who are seeing this program, what is your impression and what are your experiences. The next, Dr. Jaina, are semen myths. There are issues related to semen. वीर्य बहुत powerful चीज़ है. वीर्य का नुकसान नहीं होना चाहिए. Semen should not be lost. And those myths arise from sociological memory, what is called as a herd memory. People hear and then people believe. एक वीर्य की बूंद 40 रक्त की बूंदों से बनती है इत्यादि. There are many myths. So it should not be wasted. This is related to the adolescent behavior because semen should not be wasted. So the best place to put the semen is in a woman's body. And that is what the adolescents believe. So that's the reason why adolescents, rather than masturbating, would prefer to go to a commercial sex worker. And that's how the cycle of HIV, STI, or the way opens for adolescents to go to the commercial sex workers is because of this one big myth. वीर्य का पतन नहीं होना चाहिए. The only place to, rightful place to put it is in a woman's body. So that creates problems. The third, I would say, the myth and the problem is related to their organ size. Most men believe that they are not well endowed, that they have smaller penises compared to others. And the quote that when I go to a movie theater, I see somebody else passing urine and I realize. So I ask them, why do we have to see? But then, Jenna, they have no answer to this. Why do you have to look at others? But the usual point, what we have to explain is that it's a optical illusion. When they look at their own cell, the penis looks smaller because they're looking from the top view. And a lot of it is lost between the pubic hair and the abdominal fat. But when they look at somebody from the side, they see the whole penis in the whole glory. So then, and they obviously believe that this is bigger and smaller. And we as doctors have to understand this. Unless we are able to realize where does the myth come from, we will not be able to break it. We will not be able to manage it. We will not be able to say it in the right language. How do you have to talk about it? So that's where the third sexual health concern. Fourth is, can I perform? Kya main sexual act kar paunga is another big problem. And Dr. Jenna and Pratima, and I want you to also contribute later on, is one of the biggest reasons again after the semen myths, why people, the adolescents, want to go to commercial sex workers. Because they dekhna chahte hain whether the equipment works. So there's a great difference, as I said in the beginning, between adult sexuality and adolescent sexuality. व्यस्क कमर्शियल सेक्स वर्कर के साथ जाते हैं अपनी भूख मिटाने, पर एडोलेसेंट 13 साल का 15 साल का क्यों जाता है? उसकी कोई भूख नहीं अभी पैदा हुई है. So why does a young boy visit a commercial sex worker? That question needs to be answered in many ways, needs to be discovered. गलती अभी तक ये हुई है कि we always thought कि एडोलेसेंट भी उसीलिए जाता है कमर्शियल सेक्स वर्कर के पास जिसके लिए व्यस्क जाता है, परंतु ऐसा नहीं है. So that's where we doctors have to understand and then make our responses appropriate to that question.
I would like to add one thing that, as far as girls are concerned, they visit the health workers, they visit the doctors frequently because of menstrual concern, which is accepted by society as a real concern. They just come and talk to the doctor, and doctor can take that opportunity to discuss other things. But as far as the boys are concerned, they really don't have anybody, and they just don't come to the health facility.
Yes, they think it's below their dignity. हमें क्या बताएं? Thirdly, the problem is जो road side के लोग बैठे हैं, जवानी की भूल को ठीक करिए. हाँ, बचपन की भूल को सुधारने के लिए मेरे पास दवाई लेके आइए. So it is called as, स्वप्न दोष is there if you talk in the night. That's another problem coming up. So this issue of problems which arise from lack of information. Dhaat syndrome is very common in India and nowhere else. And the only reason Dhaat syndrome is seen as a problem is because the way we squat while passing motion, then they're able to see 2 drops of or a few drops of semen coming out, or the corpus secretions coming out, and the children are very worried, the adolescents are very worried. So the mix, the explosive mix of lack of information, sociological viewpoint, peer pressure, plus what is coming from the roadside people, that हम ये जवानी की भूल को ठीक करने
misinformation.
Misinformation is there. This is what I'll say, Jena. There are many more, but these are 5 or 6 major issues, and none of them need any treatment. The sexual health concerns जो हैं, they don't need treatment. We are not even come to premature ejaculation or say erectile dysfunction, which usually happen later on. And this age, these are the problems, actually the concerns which manifest as big problems in the adolescent mind. And we need to tackle those, find out. So how do we answer? What is the right language to use? Why does Dhaat syndrome happen? How to break the semen myth? Because they say, इस religious किताब में लिखा है, वहाँ लिखा है. And we have to find out and very gently talk to them without breaking anyone's religious sentiments or hurting anybody's religious sentiments.
And as a doctors, we should be very clear that we don't put our attitude,
Absolutely
our,
right.
Ideas, whatever we think. I think we should not,
we should
give the right information.
Absolutely, just the right medical information.
Like if I think that this is bad, that should not be percolated.
I agree with you. And at the same time, what I think is good also should not get percolated. We should just state what is the right thing to be stated. Yes. Anything else, Jana?
Yeah, so I think we'll take this opportunity to show you that out of these all concerns, we are trying to tackle at least one concern through a video clip. So can we have the video clip, please?
Yes, next please. Come. आइए बैठिए. नाम बताएं.
यजवेंद्र सर.
ओके यजवेंद्र, क्या एज है?
सर 19 साल सर.
19 साल लगते तो हमें 19 से थोड़ा ज्यादा हो यजवेंद्र तुम.
सर एक्सरसाइज करता हूँ इसलिए.
गुड. एक्सरसाइज तो ये मालूम है, एक्सरसाइज आर द चीपेस्ट इंश्योरेंस अवेलेबल टू अस. ये स्ट्रेस को बहुत कम करते हैं, न एक्यूमुलेट होने देते हैं और जब एक्यूमुलेट हो जाता है तो उसको भी रिड्यूस करते हैं। गुड, करते रहो। अच्छा बताओ मेरे पास कैसे आना हुआ?
सर हंसना सुन करता हूँ सर।
अच्छा
सर उससे बॉडी में थोड़ी सी कमजोरी आ गई है और
वीकनेस
वीकनेस लगता है।
कितनी बार कर लेते हो?
सर डेली तो, और कभी कभार तो दिन में 2 बार भी हो जाता है।
अच्छा, तो और भी कोई परेशानी है उसके चलते?
सर जब टॉयलेट गया था मैं तो टॉयलेट में सीमेन निकला था मेरे यूरिन में।
अच्छा, कैसे मालूम हो?
सर सफेद रंग का था सर।
ओके, तो पेशाब करते समय कुछ सफेद सफेद गया था?
हाँ जी सर।
तो वो निकला था। ओके, और भी कोई परेशानी है?
सर लिंग का साइज भी छोटा हो रहा है।
अच्छा, आपको लगता है कि लिंग का साइज छोटा हो रहा है, पतला हो रहा है? पतला हो रहा है। ओके, तो इन सब के चलते प्रॉब्लम क्या है, मतलब यानी कि?
सर डर लगता है कि आगे जाके इम्पोर्टेंट ना हो जाऊं
बड़े होके। देखिए यशवेंद्र, कुछ कॉन्ट्राडिक्शंस हैं आपके स्टेटमेंट में। आपने पहला स्टेटमेंट दिया मुझे कि आप एक्सरसाइज करते हो। जब आप इतनी अच्छी एक्सरसाइज कर लेते हो कि 19 साल की उम्र में आपकी बॉडी हमें 22-23 साल के लड़के के बराबर लग रही है, क्या करते हो तुम?
सर कॉलेज में
पढ़ाई करते हो।
फर्स्ट
तो
ईयर
जब
में
22-23 साल के लड़के के बराबर लग रही है तो फिर कमजोरी कहाँ? और रहा सवाल मैस्टरबेशन का, मैस्टरबेशन एक नॉर्मल प्रोसेस है, ठीक है, उससे कमजोरी आने का तो सवाल ही नहीं है। क्यों? शादी के बाद देखिए क्या होता है, लोग जब शादी के बाद लोग सेक्स करते हैं तो नेट आउटकम क्या है? सीमन का डिस्चार्ज होना। मैस्टरबेशन के बाद नेट आउटकम क्या है? सीमन का डिस्चार्ज होना। तो शादी के बाद तो अधिकतर देखा होगा जो पतले भी लोग होते हैं ना वो मोटे हो रहे होते हैं, है ना?
यस सर।
तो कमजोरी आने का तो चांस ही नहीं है, नहीं तो शादी के बाद हर ऑफिस में प्रॉब्लम खड़ी हो जाती।
सर पर पढ़ाई पे भी कंसंट्रेट नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ।
यस, अब वो सवाल इस बात का है कि जो कमजोरी है तो वो एक परसेप्शन है माइंड के अंदर, उस आपका ध्यान वहीं अटका हुआ है कि कहीं मैं बड़ा होकर इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया तो। इंपॉर्टेंट मैं बताऊं आपको, इंपॉर्टेंट मैस्टरबेशन से नहीं होते हैं। दुनिया में लगभग 99% लोग मैस्टरबेशन करते हैं और ऐसा कहा जाता है कि जो 1% नहीं करते हैं वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं। तो यानी जब हर आदमी मैस्टरबेशन कर रहा है तो उससे इंपॉर्टेंट होने का सवाल ही नहीं है। प्रॉब्लम है जब हम उसके बारे में कि हम मैस्टरबेशन कर रहे हैं सोच लें, और इतना सोच लें कि गिल्ट होने लगे, घबराहट होने लगे और विचारधारा नेगेटिव हो जाए, तो पढ़ाई में भी फर्क पड़ता है, कंसंट्रेशन नहीं बढ़ता, और जो आप बोल रहे हैं कमजोरी आ जाती है वो भी आ जाता है। लेकिन दूसरी तरफ आप ये सोचें कि तो फिर आप इसको रोक क्यों नहीं लेते हैं?
सर
नहीं रोक पाते हैं। हाँ, तो क्योंकि क्यों नहीं रोक पाते हैं आपने कभी सोचा? क्योंकि आपको उसमें प्लेजर मिलता है करने में। तो जिस चीज में प्लेजर आ रहा है तो वहां कमजोरी कहां? आप पिकनिक पे गए, खूब खेले हैं, खूब एक्सरसाइज करी है, तो उसके बाद आपको एक शरीर में जो थकान भी लगती है ना तो वो अच्छी लगती है, क्या मैं थक गया। ऐसा थोड़ी कि उसके बाद कल मैं ऑफिस नहीं जा पाऊंगा या कॉलेज नहीं जा पाऊंगा या कोई बच्चा कहे कि भाई मैं स्कूल नहीं जा पाऊंगा, तो ऐसा नहीं होता है ना? तो इस चीज को अपने मन से निकाल दो। ये विचारधारा बनी है, हो सकता है कहीं तुमने कुछ पढ़ा भी हो या किसी ने बताया हो, ऐसा भी कुछ हुआ है क्या?
नहीं सर।
नहीं, बहुत सी बार बहुत से लोग सोचते हैं कि भाई एक सीमन की ड्रॉप 40 ब्लड के ड्रॉप के बराबर होती है, तो सीमन निकल गया तो मैं बाद में इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाऊंगा। ऐसा नहीं होता है। वास्तव में क्या होता है कि मैस्टरबेशन करने के बाद सीमन का डिस्चार्ज हो रहा है जो नॉर्मल है, जो नॉर्मल इजैकुलेटरी प्रोसेस है उसका, और हम आपको एश्योर कराते हैं इन द सेंस कि भाई एक फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन देते हैं कि खाली मैस्टरबेशन करने से कोई इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होता है। और इंपॉर्टेंट में भी क्या होता है, जो सीमन होता है ना, अब इसकी हम जांच कराएंगे आपकी। जो आप कह रहे हैं कि पेशाब में सीमन निकलता है, वो वास्तव में हो सकता है सीमन ही ना हो, अधिकतर कैल्शियम ऑक्सलेट के क्रिस्टल्स होते हैं, उसकी वजह से पेशाब सफेद सफेद होता है। लेकिन फिर भी मैं आपको एक बार ये, आप पेशाब की जांच करा के मेरे पास वापस आना 2 हफ्ते बाद, मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि उसमें सीमन नहीं होगा, क्योंकि दोनों की नली अलग अलग होती है। जब पेशाब जा रहा होता है तो सीमन नहीं, आपने देखा हो जब मैस्टरबेशन करते हैं वीर्य का डिस्चार्ज होता है तो उस समय पेशाब नहीं निकलता है, क्योंकि दोनों, एक रुकता है एक चलता है, दोनों अलग अलग है। लेकिन फिर भी जब आपने कहा है तो एक बार जांच करा लेते हैं, हाथ कंगन को आरसी किया है, मालूम पड़ जाएगा कि भाई सीमन है कि खाली पेशाब है, उसमें कैल्शियम के ऑक्सलेट के कंसर्न। और यदि सीमन नहीं जा रहा है तो आपके मन का डर भी निकल जाएगा कि मेरे अंदर इंपॉर्टेंस होने का सवाल ही नहीं है। ये लीजिए, और 2 हफ्ते बाद आके, या जब भी 1 हफ्ते में करा लीजिए आप इसको, और उसके बाद आके मुझे दिखाएं। जरूरत पड़ेगी तो हम दवा लिखेंगे, नहीं तो हो सकता है दवा की जरूरत ही ना पड़े। गुड,
थैंक यू सर।
बाय। नेक्स्ट प्लीज।
Okay, you saw the video clip that we have made to take care of some of the adolescent issues related to males. Now I'll request Dr. Nair to comment on the clip.
I think
Yeah.
very nicely done, very good clip. Doctor and the client दोनों ने बहुत अच्छा role निभाया है, and the doctor has given a lot of information to the client. Only thing I want to add on is that कभी-कभी जो first 2 drops होती हैं, that could be what is called as phosphaturia, what doctor has tried to answer very well. But sometimes in the Dhat syndrome, actually not with urine but while passing stool, if after masturbation, if couple of drops are left in the passageway, so before urine can come into that passage, the semen gets pushed out. So they see 1 or 2 drops coming out, and that could be semen. So sometimes and they're also in urine, we find in the male urine examination sperm are found. So there can be a combination of these things, but the video has very clearly tried to explain that masturbation has no known medical ill effects till today. किसी भी तरह की साइंस में उसके मेडिकल इल इफेक्ट नहीं है. लैक ऑफ कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है बिकॉज यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट इट, यू आर गेटिंग ऑब्सेस्ड अबाउट इट. वो इल इफेक्ट नहीं है. देयर समबडी हु इज वेरी कंफर्टेबल इन मैस्टरबेशन, ही डजंट थिंक अबाउट इट, और वीमेन who masturbate, they don't think about it. So ये अपनी ही attitude से that we lose concentration in studies or focusing, or some adolescent come and say pimples हो रहे हैं because of masturbation, or I'm losing hair or whatever. They've got nothing to do with it. So I think the video has really explained the important points of related to masturbation and how to tackle a client who's worried about masturbation very well.
Okay, can we go to the next aspect, maybe the impact, because as you rightly pointed out in the beginning, that whether this is having any national relevance. So can you tell us that what is the impact on the national indicators, health indicators?
Yes. I think this is the crux of the topic. Why are doctors, why is IGNOU doing this program, and why are doctors not learning about adolescent sexuality and adolescent reproductive health? If you see our indicators, whether it is MMR of nearly more than 330, 40, Pratima would have spoken about it, or the IMR, or the early pregnancy, total fertility rate, abortion complications, deaths because of that, the IUGR, intrauterine growth retardation, low birth weight babies, under 5 mortality, all of them are related and very heavily contributed by the adolescent component.
Actually, if you see, the maternal mortality rate is 2.5 times more in adolescent pregnancies rather than, the total mortality rate if you look at it.
Yeah, so coming back to the topic is, यदि हमको maternal mortality कम करनी है, if we have to reduce maternal mortality and infant mortality, knowing very well that the children born to adolescent mothers are also prone to morbidity and mortality, we have to see that adolescent pregnancy is reduced. And one of the ways of reducing adolescent pregnancy, in India there is a lot of adolescent sex, but most of it is in the married context. So if we have to reduce adolescent pregnancy, we have to reduce adolescent sex, that means we have to reduce adolescent marriages. So bringing up the age of adolescent marriage, there are laws, but laws are not adhered to in many states of the country. So यदि हम adolescent लड़कियों की शादी postpone कर पाएं, जितनी ज़्यादा कर पाएं, और उसके बाद fertility control करने के लिए contraception उपलब्ध करा पाएं, we have won the battle for maternal mortality. Canada has maternal mortality of 6, and India has maternal mortality of more than 330, ranging 330 to 340. Why is this so? So we have to ponder. We can't let our girls die like this. So the impact is huge, Dr. Jaina, on all the indicators. And of course, it does not mean that everything will become hunky-dory once we deal with the adolescent component. But we have to know that adolescent component is one of the biggest components which is driving maternal mortality, infant mortality, under 5 mortality. And हम उनको कोई services नहीं दे रहे हैं. The contraception rate being used, Dr. Jaina, for the adolescent is abysmal, less than 5%. So there's a huge unmet need for contraception, unmet need for services, जिसकी शायद चर्चा हम थोड़े समय के बाद करेंगे. So the impact is huge, and once we understand this is the crux, why we are talking about adolescent sexuality is because we have to realize that India के जो indicators हैं, इतने poor indicators हैं, उनमें adolescents का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है, and we have to deal with it. We have to reduce these components, and that is where the next part of the program will come in. How do we reduce our strategies?
Yes, I think that is the next issue. Maybe you can tell how to handle actually.
Actually, it starts from the adolescent itself, then comes to the health visitor. We as a doctor has to develop adolescent friendly health services. Either this can be done either by improving making the present existing facilities adolescent friendly, or developing new adolescent friendly services, or dedicating time, special time for adolescents. But before that, it is important that we have to analyze why adolescents do not come to the health services. They do not take advantage of the facilities available, because they are embarrassed, they are not, I mean, they do not know whether they will be getting the services properly, or they will be getting non-judgmental services, because most of the times, you know, the adolescents come and the doctor says, no, this, you have done it wrong. You know, that sort of a feeling gives a very, that doesn't give it the assurance to the adolescents to talk about her or his problem. So most important is that to attract adolescents and to get them to, I mean, so that they get right information, it is important that they come to these facilities, and for that the doctor, the provider has to be adolescent friendly first of all, from the very beginning, from the person who is, you know, making them go enter into the doctor's room. I think the attendant at the health center should also be adolescent friendly, and then the ambience of the facility, it is giving all the correct information, and secondly the confidentiality issue should be taken care of in the adolescent friendly health services. So you as a doctor has to assure, if you saw in the video very clearly, as soon as the doctor I mean, the adolescent was there, we said that, I mean, you can tell your thing without hesitation, because we are not going to tell it to others. So that confidentiality issue is very important as far as adolescents are concerned. And then, of course, their problems. You know, doctor has to be sensitive to their problems. They may not come out to be he has to see what is hidden behind his problems which he is coming on. Like patients they may just come with the problem that adolescent girls may come with only problems of pain abdomen. And you realize that basically it is the anxiety behind the sexual contact which she has had last night. So the hidden problems also have to be, you know, taken out by the counseling, by the doctor or the health worker who discusses the problems with the adolescents. And last of all, the information which should be very correct. Whatever information has to be given should be correct. Doctor should not be biased about boys and girls, you know, that gender issues, that these problems I can only discuss with boys, these problems I can only discuss with girls. So the biased attitude of doctor should not be there. And lastly, that I would like to say that the problems, if the girl or boy is having a genuine problem, the solution should be offered to him in the legal framework which is available to us. So it is most important that we provide adolescent friendly health services to the client at a at a very minimal cost, and secondly in a confidential manner, in a non-judgmental manner. And we should remove all their myths, whatever myths and facts which they have about their sexual concerns should be allayed. Their future should be tackled, that these problems can lead to problems in the future. So those anxieties should also be tackled.
Jin, I'd like to add here, especially for my viewers. सवाल उठता है, I think Dr. Pratima has really explained what, in the last two, she has used the time very well, and बहुत सारे मुद्दे उठाए हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें बताई हैं. Be sensitive, non-judgmental, give correct information, be friendly. Everybody in the staff has to be. But many of the doctors would be running individual clinics. So एक सवाल उठता है, how do I make my clinic appear adolescent friendly? What can I do so that I can attract more clients? So one of the points is that we can keep an adolescent waiting for some time if the adolescent is a little worried about other people being around. The neighborhood, uncles, aunties, any relative would be there. So can we choose a time where only the adolescents can come, the convenient time for them? We can do that. When there's a lean patient time, we can ask, okay, young people, you come at that time, so I can give you more attention. So that is one point. Secondly is, don't belittle the complaint. Immediately in the video, we could have had been, when Pratima was the doctor and the girl comes to her, she could have easily said, नहीं नहीं नहीं, मेरे ख्याल में तो तुम बिल्कुल ठीक हो, सब ठीक है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. I've got bigger issues. ये क्या problem है? हट जाइए, सब ठीक है. We would have put off a client forever from coming to us. So belittling their problem would be a wrong thing. Third is, try to understand that many times adolescents don't come with the real problem the first time they visit you. They may talk to you about, मेरे को acne हो रहा है, but the real issue they want to talk is pain somewhere else down. Maybe related to menstruation, or maybe she's pregnant, or maybe the boy wants to talk about masturbation. So give them a chance to open up and come to you. So these are some of the doable things which you can do in a clinic to make it adolescent friendly. You may not have whole staff, you may not get trained for everything, परंतु हम सब अपनी जगह बैठे adolescent friendly, oblique youth friendly, oblique women friendly. In fact, why should we not be patient friendly? That is, be friendly to everyone. So we can do all these things from the area.
And of course, Dr.
Yeah.
Nair, we can provide them literature, pamphlets on certain important
Very good,
issues.
very good
And
point.
we can put posters, which is dealing with the common problems of adolescents.
Yeah. And they can show the literature made by Dr. Jaina, Igno and others. Many have contributed. We can make Xerox copy of one page and let the person read it or carry it home. It really sends information the right way. And that is the way we can give them correct information. Myth busting is very important. So हम सब लोग इसको adolescent friendly बना सकते हैं.
Yeah, I think Dr. Nair has brought out very important issues, very sensitive issues which every doctor has to look into. Because if you want to make justice to the adolescents, you have to take care of the special problems of the adolescents. And as he has already pointed out, you have to maintain the secrecy, you have to build up the confidence with the adolescent so that he or she can open up with you. Okay, to tackle the adolescent problem, not only the health sector has a key role. I think other than the health sector, there is a bigger role for them. Can you, maybe we have just 5 minutes, highlight some of the bigger issues?
Okay, Jaina. Pratima ji, I would want you also to contribute
Okay.
after speak. सबसे जरूरी है the education sector. Like if we have seen through the program, a large body of problems of adolescent arises from lack of information or misinformation. And who can deal with it? To expect doctors to go and do sessions everywhere. बड़ा अच्छा है हम अगर कर पाएं schools में, community में, or from the TV or write columns in newspapers, very good, but everybody cannot do it. So what do we do is best is make education system alive. We train teachers like Pratima has done in the Safdarjung Hospital network. So we can train teachers using life skills. Jeevan Kushaltaएं, is one of the ways. If you can make our adolescents think, become self-aware, have critical thinking, creative thinking, coping with stress, जो mental health issues and जो problems उनको आती हैं अपने शरीर से जुड़ी हुई anxiety के कारण, which was the first word Pratima used and I wrote it on my page, was anxiety and body image. That can be tackled very well by the education sector. So there are very, very good examples going on. In Delhi, we have what is called as Yuva program by the Directorate of Education, Government of Delhi, which is the life skill based program in schools. More than 50,000 teachers of Delhi have been trained on how to impart life skills to the students through role plays, through case studies, interactive methods, none of the boring lecture methods. So उनकी यदि हम जागरूकता को बढ़ा पाएं, उनकी we sort of improve their thinking capability, exploration, lead them in the right direction. That is one. That is the life skills. Yes, Pratima.
Actually, basically, if you see, the adolescents is a very heterogeneous type of a group. We are not having all adolescents who are going to schools. So if adolescents is living in slums, those are the people who are really neglected a lot. So in those cases, I think we can contact the gatekeepers, the area, the leaders of that community. I mean, they can be, taken into confidence and they can be tackled, told about all these problems, and they can, discuss the important issues with them.
Very
and
right.
Secondly, we can involve NGOs, all the NGOs working with the slums and working with various different groups of adolescents, and they can incorporate these issues, that normal fact, at least the normal things which are normal, that can be explained to those adolescents, so that I have seen, while conducting sessions, that if a problem of one adolescent is solved, I think you at the same time you're solving to the problem of about 100 adolescents. We
Very
do not
right.
come out with the
Yeah.
problems.
But Pratima, here I'd like you take 1 minute and explain. So Shan, when you were training teachers, आपका कैसा experience था? Were they able to take up and do it in the schools?
No, initially when we started the training, I think that all the teachers themselves were so embarrassed, and you know what they used to do? They used to skip the chapter of adolescents' health, and especially reproductive health chapter. They used to tell the students that you read it at home. But after we conducted the workshops, they became so adolescent friendly, that most of the issues they could tackle on their own. They said now we are empowered to tackle all these
So what it
issues.
means is that the problem is usually with the comfort of the subject. यदि हम teachers को comfortable कर दें by our workshops, by talking to them, like this program is aimed to make our doctors comfortable with the subject of sexuality, which many times is seen as dirty, evil, sinful, bad, snigger, wink, wink, and bring it as a scientific subject. And if you make it as comfortable level, people are able to deal with. That's what Pratima said. Pratima also brought out a point of how to use NGOs, but मैं यहाँ कहना चाहूँगा that we have two very big institutions available to us in the country, and those are the Nehru Yuva Kendras and the NSS in the schools, which have a outreach branch in the community. and I've used both. And wherever you are, my friends, you will definitely have an NYK Kendra near you, or the Anganwadis near you who have trained. And the NYKs now have adolescent clubs behind them. When I was in UNFPA, we made nearly 280 such clubs, 2,400 clubs in whole of the country. And I'm sure there's one near you. By now, hundreds more have been added. So can we use the NYK's reach to go into the community? Many of those volunteers, many of those peer educators are very well trained. तो हम उनका भी सहयोग ले सकते हैं. We can take up the NGOs, because as Pratima pointed out, large number of adolescents are still out of school. So if you have to tackle the problem, it's easier to tackle through the school with teachers, make them comfortable, give them education, information, maybe video of this very program, we can show it to them. And then out of the community, out of the school community के लिए deal करने के लिए NGOs, NYK, NSS, Bal Anganwadis, and of course there are many other organizations available who have done very good work. हर एक स्टेट में कोई ना कोई ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मिल जाएगी जिससे हम रिश्ता नाता जोड़ सकते हैं, to reach out. Subject matter usually यही रहता है. This is my experience dealing with out of school adolescents, in school adolescents, adolescents who come to my clinic, adolescents who write to me, adolescents who ring me up. They usually raise problems on these 10 or 12 areas. Of course there are other areas. Child sexual abuse is one, जो deal करने के लिए हमें सीखना चाहिए. But they are lesser and rarer, and they need more capability. So maybe we can refer them to a center like Pratima's or mine, where we can tackle them.
Yeah.
Yes, Jana.
Thank you, Dr. Nair. We don't have much time. Maybe if you want to give some message to our doctors that how to train or handle the adolescent component, maybe I can give half a minute.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
I think with ladies first.
Okay.
So I
Pratima
say
has a-
whenever you are handling a adolescent, you keep a few things in mind. Give them factual information, right information, then allay their fears. Whatever their fears are there, allay their fears. Then treat their, remove their misconceptions or whatever problems they are. Then tackle the issue from the family or social point of view. And lastly, their future concerns should be taken into account.
Very well done in 30 seconds. So my 30 seconds start now. I will give only two messages. One is treat your client as a human being who is unique. क्या हुआ अगर उसकी उम्र 13 वर्ष है या 15 वर्ष है, वो एक इंसान है. So treat them as unique human beings. I think as parents also, if we do this with our children, we'll have a better relationship with our children also. And the second message I would give is learn about sex and sexuality and reproductive health so that your comfort level can improve. In दो चीजों के साथ and the messages which Pratima has given, we can really weave in and really tackle many of the adolescent sexual health problems. They are not that difficult to tackle in experience. And as more and more doctors are joining and talking about adolescent health, they're able to tackle this. Thank you, Jana.
Yeah, I think I will take the cue from you that if you are comfortable with the topic, I think the message will go to the adolescents.
Right.
So, as a doctor, it is your responsibility not only to make them comfortable, but also give them the facts. Don't give them the thoughts of your own, which is not scientific. Give scientific facts and make them comfortable. I think the goal will be achieved. Okay, I want to give you a message that our next teleconference will be on the 4th Sunday, 11 am to 1:45 p.m., the same timing as we are having. Any information you can always inquire from your respective regional centers, and you can plan ahead that where you are going to view the teleconference. Be sure that your regional center is working, as some of the students are complaining. Okay, I thank now Dr. Nair and Dr. Pratima Mittal for being here and giving such a lucid session, and I think all the students are benefited. I thank again all the viewers and our experts for being here.
Thank you.
Please be with us again on the 4th Sunday of April, in which we will take up the issues related to IMNCI, Integrated Management of Neonatal and Childhood Illness. We will be discussing on that day. Thank you all.
Thank you.